Hello all, welcome back to This Day in History. It is September 3rd, 2024, and as you know, it's not about the year, but about the magic of the day. And what's magical about today is that it is the birthday of a family friend of mine, my brother from another mother. Actually, his mother babysat me and my brothers when we were children, so we were all basically raised together. So he is my babysitter's oldest. So my brother Damon, happy birthday, buddy. Um, Good grief, man, you're 51. um, Sorry, bro. Love you. But happy birthday. I hope you have a blessed day, man. Really, truly. Um, so we have a pretty interesting day today. Um, yes, just let's get into it, all right? So our very first birthday is in 1856. It's Louis Sullivan. He's an American architect. 1875, we see the birth of Ferdinand Porsche. Damon, you celebrate your birthday with the founder of the Porsche. Right? He was an Austrian engineer. So, an Austrian engineer who ended up having a car named after him. So, how cool is that? You share your birthday with the man himself, Porsche. 1913, we see the birth of Alan Ladd. He was an American actor. I looked up Alan Ladd because I was like, oh, why does that name sound familiar? Well, I know the name Alan Ladd Jr. Alan Ladd Jr. was working at 20th Century Fox, and he was the studio executive that gave George Lucas the green light for the Star Wars project. And that is this actor who was born on this day in 1913. That was his father, Alan Ladd Sr. The guy did a lot of movies. I don't know a whole lot about him. Kind of well before my time. This next guy I do know a little bit about. I knew a thing or two. 1929, we see the birth of Whitey Bulger. If you don't know who Whitey Bulger is, he was an American crime boss. He was in the South Boston was his domain. There was a great movie that they did about him, and the thing is, like, he was a gangster. He was a thug. He was he was a mob boss for a crime family there in Boston. He was, try to center that a little. He was on the run for like 20 years, right? So he got away, and he happened to get caught, and he was living in the LA area, I think. He was I think he got caught in like Venice Beach or someplace around there, and he was extradited, went to trial, and blah 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 blah, and of course, he vehemently denies all the charges, obviously, because everyone in prison, they're never guilty. They were set up. But yeah, 1947, we have Mario Draghi. He was an Italian prime minister. He also served as, if I'm understanding correctly, I think he was like some sort of like a treasurer or something like that for the European Union. I'm not entirely sure, but I thought it interesting to look him up. So 1963, we see the birth of Malcolm Gladwell. Malcolm was a Canadian journalist and writer. Not sure what Malcolm is doing now, but probably somewhere in that field. And that's it for our birthdays. We didn't have a whole lot of birthdays today. And unlike yesterday, we're not going back so far in history, but I mean, it is 1609. On this day in 1609, English navigator Henry Hudson, seeking passage, he's trying to find another route to India. And, Columbus thought that he could go to India just by sailing due west. He thought Hudson was curious if there was any other passages up that way. But at any rate, he hits the Americas, and he finds. So he's seeking passage to India on behalf of the Dutch East India Company, and he comes to this harbor, and he sails right up the river, and that harbor would be present-day New York Harbor, and that river would be what is now known as the Hudson River. It was named after him. 1658, English soldier and statesman Oliver Cromwell, he would pass away in London on this day. In 1783 is the Treaty of Paris, or also it's part of the Peace of Paris. And what it was, it's like the official signing, the cessation of war, the peace accords between the newly founded United States and the British government. Yesterday we talked about Labor Day because it was Labor Day yesterday. But today, in 1894, today is the very first day that Labor Day was celebrated as a legal holiday. And that it was actually a union leader that had organized its inception. And it was Grover Cleveland who had put it into law that this would be and when I say put it in law, it's like he had Congress, vote on it, and so they made it a law that Labor Day would be an official federal holiday. Now, my understanding of Labor Day is, and maybe I'm just confused, and I got it confused with something else, because I was telling someone the other day that Labor Day really got its start from FDR, basically shutting the banks down for a day so that people wouldn't pull out all their money and tank the economy even more. It was just after the stock market crash. But that must have, because it was like a banker's holiday or something like that. And maybe that's another holiday that I'm thinking of. But I thought that was Labor Day, but apparently not. Labor Day was actually it really is its namesake. It's about honoring the laborers of the workers, the working class of the United States, and it was, well, I guess it's something else that we can say that the unions gave us, because it was a union guy that did this and wanted to have a recognized day for the American labor force. So that's a cool thing. We fast forward to the 20th century, and we go to 1962. American poet and painter E.E. Cummings dies at the age of 67. In 1970, died way too soon. If you're a cheesehead, and when I say cheesehead, if you are a Green Bay Packers fan, then this should be like a hallowed day for you. Vince Lombardi was the coach of the Green Bay Packers. Vince Lombardi had led the Packers to winning the very first Super Bowl. He was an amazing coach. He was a hell of a guy. He had great insights. He had a lot of good life quotes that were just inspirational. Unfortunately, it is on this day in 1970 that he would pass away at the young age of 57. Like, that's only 8 years away for me, and he was way too soon. So, like, I'm a Chiefs fan, and the Chiefs played the Green Bay in Super Bowl I, but I'm also a Niners fan. I mean, like the Niners are my number one, and Chiefs are my number two, because, well, I was a Joe Montana fan growing up. But, you got to give credit where it's due. He was an amazing coach. He was an even more amazing human being. But man, 57, he died way too soon. May he rest in peace. That was just way too soon. A year later, in 1971, on this day, Qatar officially becomes independent from the UK. In 1991, American director Frank Capra dies at the age of 92. You might have seen some of his work. I mean, he's of that age where the older movies that, that's before our time, the black and whites. He directed Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and that was in 1939. He directed It's a Wonderful Life, and that was in 1946. Which I've seen It's a Wonderful Life because it's a great Christmas story if you're into Christmas, which I'm not really anymore. But, yeah, 2001, an American film critic, outspoken reviewer for the New Yorker magazine, Pauline Kael, she passed away on this day in 2001 in Massachusetts. Speaking of someone else who died, the year is 2012. She was a Colombian drug trafficker by the name of Griselda Blanco. She was fatally shot in Medellin, Colombia. She was really known as a leading figure in the Miami drug scene in the 70s and 80s. She was known as the godmother of cocaine. It is on this day in 2012 that she is shot dead in Colombia. Today's featured event is it's on this day, September 3rd. The year is 1976, so it was my buddy Damon's 3rd birthday, that Viking 2 will land on Mars. And it took Viking 2 nearly a year to get there, but when it landed on Mars, it relayed information about the planet's atmosphere, its soil content. It actually sent back color photos of the planet's rocky surface. So, I mean, that was a good day for NASA. It was a good day for the science community in learning more about, the planet of Mars. So that's it. That is it for this day in history for September 3rd. And we will do it again tomorrow for September 4th. As you can see, I'm in my brand new truck. I just need to go. I was going to try to do it so that I could go to the DMV today. I know I got to pick up some prescriptions before I go to work, but if I don't get it done today, I'll get it done tomorrow. You have 30 days, so. But I want to get it done sooner rather than later so that, I'm just legal. So, with that, do have a blessed day. Do take care of yourselves and each other. And as my friend Willie would say, remember the pleasure was all yours. He always says that when we part. He's like, take care of yourselves and each other and remember the pleasure was all yours. It's quoting a wrestler who used to say that in the 80s. So, be well, be blessed, take care, and we will do it again tomorrow for September 4th, all right? See ya.